Hey, what's up, guys? Back again. It is November 13th, Friday the 13th, November 2020. It's another Friday the 13th in the craziest year of the century so far. It is, first of all, it's barber season already. It's very gloomy, raining, wet, and cold out where I live in New York. And I have my other channel, Olaf 2046. I review barber jackets. If you guys are interested, you like the look, go to that channel and check it out. So what I'm doing right now, I'm waiting to take my son to school. He's in the next room napping. I let him sleep a little late. He's 2 years old. There's no need to give him a cup of coffee and rush him out of the house. It's not that serious yet. He's just going to school to play and get his diapers changed for a couple hours. So while I was waiting, I was looking at this election results map. And something Donald Trump had said, and there was a response to that, and I was thinking about that response, and I was looking at the population of America. First of all, this is the map I'm looking at. When you look at this map, I remember Donald Trump saying there was no blue wave, and this is before Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada was blue, and it's kind of like pinkish whatever. And Trump was saying there's no blue. He had more red states than blue states here in this map. So there's a big swath of red in the middle of the country. And the blues are basically the cities on the edges of the map. And it was like this in 2016, I believe, with Hillary Clinton. And Trump swore he won the election based on this map, looking at this map. And early on in the election process, this map, yeah, rightfully so, was less blue with more, I guess pinkish purple to represent like it was close in those states. But Biden eventually won out. Now, someone responded to a tweet that I saw regarding this map, and Trump claims that he won the election. They said land doesn't vote, people vote. And when you look at this map, the blue represents where the people live. The red represents where it's just open farmland, spaces, acres of space. There might be one house for a mile. And when you look at some of these states, especially like Alaska, where Trump won, he's predicted to win there, less than 300,000 people voted in that entire state of Alaska. One of the biggest landmass, land in terms of like miles size, it's one of the biggest states, I think, after Texas. The most popular state that Trump won was Florida. He got 5 million votes in Florida. 5 million. So millions of people voted in one state outshines other states. And like North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, those states where Trump won, where he claims is all red states, there's less, all those states combined is less than 1 million people voting between all those states. So think about that. So he could win these states, but it doesn't mean he's going to win the election, win the popular votes, because all the people from these red states, right, the kids, when they grow up and go to college or get educated or want something better for themselves, where's the first place those people move to? They move to either California or New York, right? No one's moving to Oklahoma or Kansas or anything like that. And the people that tend to do stay home, where they're from, where their parents live, tend to either be do very well where they live and they're happy with that, or they tend to be stuck in their mindset of their hometown, kind of. They haven't really traveled much. They stay there, they live there. That's kind of all they know, and they grow up kind of in their parents' house in a way. It's like growing up in your parents' house. You don't know anything else outside the house. So you have this old mentality of thinking. So when Trump holds these rallies where he's talking about digging coal, it's the future, and keeping criminals and minorities out of the suburbs to keep you safe, the people that live in these states or stayed in these states that are now adults and voting, they've never really left, so they don't really know. They don't know better than where they are. And I'm just making that assumption. It's my opinion. It might not be fact. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I will admit that I'm wrong, unlike the president, who still thinks he won the election. It's 12 days after the election. He thinks he still won. So yeah, you can learn a lot from these maps. The thing I learned the most from this year's election, the bluest state was Massachusetts. That means Trump did not win a single precinct in that state, single county. All the counties went to Biden. Albeit there are maybe Trump voters within the state, but there's so few, they didn't win any part of that state. That state includes Boston and Worcester. I've been to Boston recently. I always thought like Boston was a little Trumpish to me. There's still like a lot of Trump people out there. But Massachusetts, Boston, you guys came through for what is right. I know we look at this election as Republican versus Democrats, but honestly, when you boil this down, 100 years from now, when you look in the history books of this time, it's going to look like good versus evil, what's right versus wrong, honesty versus deception. I think that's what people will look back on this time. And when they see these election results, when they see red versus blue here, it'll definitely be honesty versus deception and laziness and not working for anything. Right now it's November 13th. Millions of people are getting coronavirus still. Trump claimed after the election there will be no coronavirus, it'll go away. And he's been hiding in the White House. He's not doing anything. He's not talking about anything. He's firing people. That's about it. And replacing them with people that are loyal to him. He's also talking about hiring people for next year and continuing his presidency for the next 4 years. So that guy's totally delusional. But the reddest state going on was, and this was a surprise to me because a lot of people died after Trump's rally in that state. Herman Cain being one of those victims of coronavirus that he caught at Trump rallies. Was Oklahoma, one of the reddest states where Biden won no counties there. I'm sure there was some Biden voters there, but he didn't win anything in that state. So Oklahoma was one of the reddest states in this election. West Virginia was also just as red, but that was a state that was red right after the votes were being counted. At like 10%, West Virginia was predicted to be red anyway. The biggest shock to me was New York is not as blue as I thought. I live in New York, but New York was very even, and Trump and Biden votes were kind of closely split. That surprised me because New York is such a progressive place, but a lot of the people that live in the city and the suburbs of, not even the suburbs are divided, because Westchester was blue, Rockland County to the side of me was very red, Long Island is always red, Staten Island is like one of the reddest boroughs within the city, within the metro area. New Jersey was a blue state. New Jersey actually had more blue reporting than New York. And New York, from, I guess, upstate New York and going out west to Niagara, all blue, all red, with like Niagara Falls area being blue. I guess some of the university cities like Binghamton, Syracuse were blue, but the rest of New York State was all red, and that kind of shocked me, you know. But albeit we did a wine tour a year ago, and we saw a lot of Trump flags in Marlborough County, New York, and kind of going up New York. I saw a lot of Trump flags, and that surprised me because I'm like, what? Trump doesn't like New York, and he actually, some of his policies hurt New York. It's even with the coronavirus, he was saying you got to do stuff to get stuff. Is kind of his thing. You got to make me happy before I make you guys safe. Basically, is what his contract with New York was, and he doesn't like the governor as well. And also, the governor's Democratic, so I'm surprised a lot of people. It makes me think New York could be a swing state in the future, near future too. But yeah, so I learned a lot from the election map about my country and the people I live around. Not to say people that voted for Trump or people in those red states are bad, but I think like, well, one of the things too, when you look at this map, the red states now, I was looking at the news this morning, they're talking about coronavirus making a comeback. And the comebacks place, not even comeback, but the places that are getting coronavirus now are all these middle states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, all this red stripe down there, they're now going through coronavirus. They're going through New York and California and Chicago, and the cities went through in April and March. So all these states that didn't really get coronavirus, get hit with the coronavirus, are now getting hit with it. Texas had 1 million cases. Texas, if Texas was a country, it'll rank in the top 10 countries of coronavirus cases and probably deaths when this is done. That's insane to think that we have a president that's not doing anything, and we have individual states that rank higher than countries when it comes to taking care of coronavirus, right? Is that crazy? And that's the guy they voted for, and hopefully not a lot of people die in this wave of coronavirus that's coming out in these states, but hopefully these people realize that voting for Trump was wrong. He didn't do anything. They thought he did a great job on coronavirus, only because they saw schools shut down and this shut down and it was reopened, but he didn't really do anything. If you guys are getting hit with a wave at the end of a year when people already went through the pandemics, dealing with it, and you guys are now getting that hit now, that means your president didn't do anything all year for it. So hopefully, you know, we move on from this period in history, in American history, and we learn and grow from this. I'm hoping that there's not another repeat of Donald Trump. And I think to prevent another repeat of Donald Trump, Robert De Niro had this interview I was watching on CNN last night. He says we have to punish Donald Trump, not in a gruesome, not with a cutting his head off sense, but punish him in a way that the next Republican president, the next guy that tries to pull something like a Trump off, is gonna think twice before doing the stuff that Trump is doing, right? They're gonna think twice about it. That person, right? We have to punish Trump now to prevent Trump from happening again. Whether Republicans, Democrats come together and doing that, or just American people like seeing that this is wrong. Even now, November 12th, he's not doing anything. Thousands of people are dying every day now. The death rate of coronavirus went back up. Trump assumed coronavirus would go away with a vaccine, go away after the election. Now we have both a vaccine and we have elections done. And coronavirus is even worse than before, and people are not taking it seriously. And when they look at these states where it's spiking, the red states, the Trump states, they don't care to wear a mask. They just never wear a mask. It's not their thing. They see the president taking a mask off and telling people, "Hey, I have to wear a mask. Coronavirus is a hoax. Still, it's not going to do anything. It didn't kill me, so you'll be fine." And these people are buying that, and now they're suffering. And it's not a health suffering. It's the hospitals, the infrastructure, the jobs that will be lost, the industries that will shut down because of the coronavirus. It's not just about me wearing a mask. It's about my kids going to school. It's about the healthcare workers that might get sick and die. It's more about me. It's less about me and more about the community I live in, the country I live in, right? So in dealing with coronavirus as an individual, you have to think beyond yourself. And I think these Trump supporters are very small-minded. Their brains are in a box, this MAGA box, where they're so short-sighted. They're in the past, right? For them, Trump is this Lord and Savior, and they should be digging coal and not having health insurance. I don't get it. So hopefully this will all be behind us soon. And that's why these videos I'm doing is very important, because I think 20, 30 years from now, no one's going to believe we lived through this period. And they'll look back on this and be like, people really didn't wear a mask? People really didn't do that? The president was doing what? And I don't think anyone's going to believe that. They'll read like fiction or something like that. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me take this little guy to school. Bye.